early, you should see a little red tab pop up or a square, whatever it is, and that means we are live.
But you know this shit's fire.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin the Gas podcast on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon. It's Thursday. I'm just kidding, right? But listen, it's an absolute honor to sit down with my man, Ryan Nolan. But before we get into this, you guys know the deal. This episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take total control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial analysis today by Seth Starnes. And Ryan, I always say this to everybody. Don't spend your hard-earned money on an off-the-rack suit, right? Because for 95% of us, it's not going to fit you correctly. And when you have a suit that does not fit you correctly, man, it causes all kinds of issues on a motorcycle, right? But what I recommend, people need to go to bisontrack.com. Super simple, super easy. You see my custom suit up here right in the corner and my chest protector, man. I got the gloves. And I'm going to tell you, this is my first custom suit, Ryan. And it's a night and day difference. It really is. Plus, you'll be part of the herd. And Robert Tosh are some of the most amazing people you're ever going to meet on the planet. So listen, bisontrack.com. But listen, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor today to sit down with my man and the legend himself, Ryan Nolan. What is up, man?
Not much, man. How's it going?
It's going good. I've been super excited to sit down and have this chat with you since we scheduled it. As always, it's an honor to be here with you tonight. So yeah, we have a lot to talk about, and so let's get into it. Ryan, tell us how you started your first journey on the two wheels.
On the two wheels, man, that came back in. So I got my license back when I was 16, just doing street riding. I had to take the motorcycle course because I was, under 18. It was funny. My mom actually hoped it would like scare me off going to do the class, but it had the exact opposite effect. So started out on a yellow 2004 GS500F, and then I had a 2005 yellow Suzuki SV650. So I assumed the next bike was probably going to be a yellow 2007, but it ended up being a 2006 Daytona 675 graphite. I had that for a while. Did my first track day on the SB back in like 08. And then took a couple years off, didn't do any track days because I actually didn't have a bike. I sold the SB and I was actually intending to get a Gixxer 750, but I was in college. Then like car started breaking, expenses, life stuff, and then I ended up getting the Daytona just because I was actually on my way out the door to go pick up a Gixxer 750 in yellow and black, of course. And then the guy called me and was like, "Hey, I just sold it." So then I regrouped, tried to figure something out. And actually, at the time, it was cheaper insurance-wise for me to have a Daytona than the Gixxer because I think just there weren't as many of them out there. So I got a nice, like pretty much brand new, in 2011, I picked up basically like this brand new 06 Daytona 675. It had 172 miles on it. Guy had never even ridden it in the daylight, he told me. Because I guess he bought a Buell right after and just didn't ride the Daytona. So, which... looking back, it actually felt kind of full circle thinking about it because the thing that got me into motorcycles was my dad. And when we moved to Janesville, where we used to live, there was a Triumph dealership, and we went by there, and it was 2004. And I remember we went into the shop, and they had this yellow Daytona 650 sitting on like the pedestal, the rotating table thing. And I thought that looked like the coolest thing ever, right? It looked like an angry bee, like all yellow, and that it lit the spark for me. So I think that's probably why I ended up having yellow bikes for a little bit. But colors, as you know, have changed up a bit since then. But yeah, I did some track days on the Daytona, and I don't even remember how I found out about like track days or even like racing, but somehow I found out, I started doing track days and then, started racing back in 2014.
Dude, the Triumph 675 is a great bike. My buddy had one, He's like, dude, I just got this Trump. It was red. I'm gonna bring it. I forget what year it was. He's like, dude, I'm gonna bring it by. I want you to check it out. I'm like, I've never rode one of those, right? So I'm like, yeah, bring it on over. Yeah, I took it down the street, and what I love about triples, it's not the first triple I've ridden. Is man, it's like the best of both worlds, kind of right. It's got top end, it's
Yep.
got great bottom mid, good mid range, super light, handles good. I think his was I forget, 09, maybe a 10.
Okay.
It was beautiful, beautiful machine.
Yeah.
Night
Yeah. And like you said, that triple sound too. There's nothing
and the
like that
sound.
sound. And so yeah, I'm with you. It definitely held a place in my heart. It was I sold it this last year because I wasn't really riding it, but it wasn't as hard to sell as I thought it was going to be. But I still do miss it sometimes for sure.
Oh, absolutely. There's bikes that Ryan, I consider bikes like just like women, dude. They're beautiful, just like all women. They're absolutely gorgeous in their own way, right? So every bike's beautiful in its own way. You'll see certain bikes and you'll meet them, and it just makes your heart go pity pat in a different way than any other bike does, right? And when you get them and you change bikes, it's like being in a brand new relationship, because that's exactly what it is. You got to learn her temperament, how she likes to
Hmm.
be ridden, her actions, the whole not taking her apart. I mean, they're all different and unique in their own way, right? That's why I
Absolutely.
refer them to women. Do you do you name your motorcycles?
No, I know I never have, and even all through like with my street bikes, with all my random like race bikes I've had. Yeah, never thought to name them. I think I'll usually refer to him as like her, but I just have never given him a name for whatever rhyme or reason.
I used to name them all the time. I haven't named my RC51 yet. I just hadn't had a name. Usually they come to you pretty quick. Sometimes you got to think
Yeah.
about it, right? But I think the more I ride it, because I haven't had a chance to actually ride it very much, but yeah, I think it'll all come full circle, right?
Right.
So listen, dude, we got Rohan. Rohan, dude, he's an absolute legend and a good friend of mine. He says Big Simcoe and a legend. He's talking about you, Ryan. You're the legend.
I don't know. I think that I'm not exactly worthy of that title, but I'll take it.
So how did you and Rohan meet?
I don't know. That name doesn't actually sound that familiar. The
No?
face looks familiar, but
Yeah. He races. Um, Absolutely, yeah. Again, absolute legend. I'm sure if you met him or seen him, you'd be like,
well,
oh
see, it's one of
yeah,
those. If I saw the bike and him in his leathers, it'd be like, oh yeah. It's always one of those. I'll see people who aren't when they're not at the track, and even if
I've got
we're at the track that weekend, but I see him at the Walmart or something, it'll always take me a second because you're used to just seeing him, in that realm of, you know, next to their bike or on their bike with their leathers, with their helmet. So it's like
that's
seeing people out of uniform. It's like you're not used to seeing them that way, or like coworkers and whatnot.
yeah, absolutely. And he actually just said, he says we never met, but I recognize fast from far away. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
There you
boy,
go. Yeah, so maybe one day
so
you
much
and Rohan will
expectation.
have the honor. Nah,
There
it's
we go.
I tell everybody like this, dude. I'm slow, right? But I'm there just to have a good time and have fun and get faster and faster and get more progressive, right?
Yeah,
I'm
any
definitely not.
progress is good progress.
It is. I'm not as fast as I used to be because before I had a wife and a kid, I stayed at the track, right? Stayed doing track days all the time. Once you become a grown up, buy a house and all that, you sacrifice stuff for other things. But I never felt like I sacrificed anything for my family. Just more focused. You know what I mean on
Yeah,
different areas of life,
for sure.
um, which is a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing. Um, So yeah, dude, Ryan. So you can't remember how you got into track days?
Man, no, I don't remember. And then I obviously through being at the track, I just found out about racing, and then yeah, took the plunge in 2014. And yeah, it's funny. I realized my wife pointed out to me this year that I've basically taken all of the steps progressively because a lot of guys will start out on a 600 or twin or leader bike or whatnot. I literally started out on the smallest road race bike. I mean, there's smaller ones now, but so I started out on a 250 Ninja because
I'm
everyone was telling me you got to learn corner speed. That's the most important thing. Which helped, but the thing that sucked when I first started is the classes I could race in were all grouped together with the experts. So you would get lined up and you get scored with the experts. And the Ninja 300 had just come out. A lot of the experts were on 300s. I'm on a 250, so I'd line up on the grid, being like, "All right, the best I can do is fifth." Um, but it did teach me a lot. And then I went up to a first gen SV and a second gen SV, and then I went up. I was on an R6 last year, and then switched off that this year, and then I went to an R1. So I've literally gone from a 250 Ninja to a bike that has, way more horsepower. You're going from 25 horsepower to almost 200 horsepower. So it's funny to think back how much times have changed.
Exactly right. I remember back in the golden era of racing when the 750s raced against the 1000 twins, and there was no traction control. This is your traction control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your anti-wheelie was your rear brake and how far you climbed up on it and pushing down at the same time. Yeah, I miss those days. That's why I'm a huge fan of BSBs, because they're riding super bikes with hardly no electronics on it. It's like,
I love BSB.
Me too.
I
But
get over there for a race.
Dude, listen, we will definitely talk about this here in a minute for sure, because I'm a huge BSB fan. Steve Grigg, dude, he's an absolute legend, man. He says Chris Simcoe, 2025 Zuma Cup champion. Let's go, Steve. Yes, dude, absolutely. And I run Rissen's number, right? With Rissen's permission, I'll definitely run his number on my Zuma in the championship for sure.
Is there an actual Zuma championship?
I don't know, but you know what? It's a good thing. We should start one.
I'm
a big dude. I'm a big fan of like the Honda Groms and the Z125s.
Yeah.
And getting together with a bunch of friends and just letting them eat. Well, they don't really eat too much, right? But just having fun. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Letting them nibble.
Yeah, but I feel like I have more fun riding the small bikes than I do my bigger bike. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If that makes sense. But
absolutely.
But yeah, so you know what, dude, while we're on the subject, let's just go ahead and tackle the BSB thing, right? So how long have you been following BSB?
Oh, that's a good question. It's hard to tell because part of it was I would actually go back and find some of the older races that I, from when I started getting into it more. I was definitely following it, I would say, at least 2 or 3 years before, like that. There was that year that Haslam was about to win the championship at Brands, but then he had that bad crash.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I would say, at least 4 or 5 years before that. I was following it when Shaky was on his like pretty solid run, and I remember, I think Keo was still in the championship, and there was like one of the years I remember I followed it pretty closely because it was always hard to like find the races, but guys would always throw them up on YouTube. Like there was like Taz McKenzie was still racing in like British Super Sport, like Luke Stapleford was in Super Sport, and guys are still coming through. They still had, actually when I was following it, they still had like that Ducati Tri-Options Cup, but they had, because there was a period where they had like KTM RC8s, and then they had that Triumph Triple Challenge too. And I followed it kind of loosely then, but I started following it more obviously when I started racing. So I'd say, yeah, probably 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. And like, it's hard for me to think of, like, people ask me like who your favorites are. Like, dude, they're all like, I love all those guys. Like some I would say I root for a little bit more than others, but yeah, I love that championship. Like you said, I love how it's no track control and the grids are always huge. The crowd's always there, and the tracks just look like so cool to ride. Like I'd love to go ride. Like everyone wants to go ride like Cadwell or something, right, and go over the mountain, right? But I mean, I want to ride all the tracks. Obviously, I actually think Thruxton would be a really fun track because it looks so high speed. But I mean, you can't really go wrong.
You can't. I actually had the honor to go to Cadwell last year for the BSB.
Oh yeah, I saw some of your posts.
Yeah, it was proper mega, as I always say.
Yeah.
It was Cadwell Park is just it's my favorite racetrack. It's intense, it's awesome. It's literally this wide. It's absolutely insane, right? And the cool thing is everybody can watch it for free at Bennett'sBritishSuperbikes.com. And there you go. Right. I've been watching it for a long time too. I remember Shaky Byrne before he even started racing in BSB. He was actually for Fast Bikes. Was it Fast Bikes magazine or Performance
Yeah, he was a
Bikes?
tester.
Yes, way back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a fan cheerleader for a long time for BSB, right? Just as of all motorcycle racing.
Right.
So yeah, so listen, Ryan, I want to get more back into your journey, right? So people
Yeah.
that are going to be listening to this, that's maybe just done a couple track days, but are looking into getting into club racing, tell everybody and give them your recommendation on how to get into club racing from just doing track days and the journey that's taking you to where you are right now.
I mean, I think the biggest thing that helped me, and then I've been fortunate enough to help some people get into racing as well. It's been just that barrier between track days and racing, right? People think like, oh, I've got to be quick enough, I've got to be, which you want to have, I'd say, a base amount of speed, but I think the biggest thing is you need to be consistent, you need to be smooth, you need to be predictable. But if you can find someone that can help kind of guide you, because the thing that I keep running into with people who are trying to get into it, one of the things is just like figuring out the rule book and the classes. So it's kind of like that I tell them it's going to feel like that first day of school, right? Where you're all so nervous. Then once the first day is over, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't so bad. So just talk to people, find people at the track who race. Like, as you know, this community is like super welcoming. You know, everybody wants to help everybody. Everyone wants the sport to grow for the most part. So just find someone that you can talk to. And that's kind of what happened with me by happenstance. I just reached out to somebody and, they kind of help guide me through what I need to do. And like I said, once you're at the track and in the paddock, people are there to help. As you know, that's one of the things we all love about the track is just how everybody's just there for everybody else, and just you know, read up, do your research, and have questions, and don't be afraid to ask those questions. That's why we're all here. We're all here to help. So that's really, I think, the biggest thing is just trying to find someone that can help guide you. Like if someone says they can't find anybody, I'd say they're not really looking, because I mean, you see posts on Facebook even all the time, people talking about they want to get into racing. What do they do? And there's tons of comments, right? So
In our beautiful circus, as I always call it, absolutely 95, 99, 99, 100% of people will help you, right? All you got to do is ask the questions.
yeah,
Um, but so did you find the journey difficult coming from just track days to club racing?
I mean, it was definitely nerve wracking for sure, because I definitely had those thoughts of like, do I really like belong here? Am I really quick enough? And I've even still had that now, even as I progressed up through the ranks, seeing people like when I moved over to the R6. I always call the 600 class like that meat grinder class, right? Like, am I really like, do I have enough skill to really be here? Do I feel like I belong here? Like, um, so there were definitely those things for sure, and I think people just have to kind of understand like that's all part of it. You just have to get used to, like, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? It's a new situation. You should feel uncomfortable. It should be a little nerve wracking, and it just takes time. I would say my journey's been a bit more strung out, like methodical, like taking kind of a long way to get there than others. But in the long run, I think that's been good, because it's given me a lot of longevity, and I've learned a ton through that. You know, it's like they say, the highs wouldn't feel high if the lows weren't low. So if uh if the journey was easy or short, like, it wouldn't really mean as much. And like I said, I've learned a lot through it. But I think some people have that expectation where it just depends on what you want to get out of racing. There's people who just want to race to just have fun. There's people that want to race just so they can tell people that they race. There's people that want to race to try and get to the pro level. It just kind of depends on where your priorities are. But those are things that obviously can change over time.
Oh, for sure. That's one thing about our sport is you either fall dead head over heels deeply in love with it, or you just kind of flirt with it, right? And in and out, which means an occasional track day and don't
Mhm.
watch races much, or all that good stuff. So to me, I got bit by the bug at an early age, and yeah, never
Uh,
gave up. I feel fortunate and honored to find a passion like that in my life, no matter what it is, right? I could be a
mhm.
drawer or whatever. Yeah, it's super important. So Ryan, tell everybody what motorcycle you race, what's your team name. Like I save that for all my friends that come on here, right? So tell everybody what you race, where you race, all that good stuff.
So I switched over mid-year this year to 2021 R1. So the intent with that is to go into finally make my full Moto America debut. Do some stock thousand next year. So we'll be doing that. They'll be at Road America, which is my home track. So I'm super excited for that. I'm going to get out to some other tracks as well. Usually race with Azra, which was formerly CCS. I'll be doing probably some rounds with them. I actually started doing a few rounds with Weira this year as well. My plan is to go back and do that because I had a good time with that. That's why as I told you earlier before we went live, I was down at Barber for, for GNF. I did also I picked up a supermoto, and since I live so close to Road America, I'm planning to go out and do. They have a supermoto series that they've started that's blown up pretty hard, so I'm planning to go out and ride for that. And plus, I've just anytime on two wheels, I feel like is going to be good training for me, especially going onto this R1 because there's so much to learn on it. So as far as like team and next year plans, I have my own like team that I kind of started to be more formal this year. That's why I've got the Rhino Racing stuff going. I'll be doing some stuff with superbikesupply.com, which we'll be doing some like more formal announcements on that in the future, and then hopefully have my other sponsors on board. I've got ICAF Inc. and then some other friends that are helping us out, like local businesses, and obviously kind of like the usual, like my moto sponsor, Scorpion helmets and Forma boots, Attack Performance, Turn One, Vortex, Redline Moto, all those. So it's been it's been quite the whirlwind this year because up until like this year, I'd never had like such a formal like team program going. And honestly, it was because I always had the mentality of, my wife will tell you, like, I don't take like compliments well. I don't like talking about myself. I always, uh, I always had the thought of like, why am I going to go apply and try and get sponsored? Like my thought process was, why me? And basically at the end of this last year of 2023, my mentality switched to try and believe in myself more and be like, not why me, why not me, right? And it's it's been it's been cool to kind of see that kind of pay off and see like people who are willing that like can believe in you and like see the hard work that you're putting in and want to see you doing that. So that's been really cool to see. But it's one of those where, like I said, I had to physically like make that mental shift, which I honestly still like struggle with because like I said, I'm not one of those who likes to try and like talk myself up. You know, I always say like, I'll just let other people do the talking for me, or I'll just let my ride and do the talking for me.
Just
So
like Brad Bender. Brad Bender does the same thing. He lets everybody else talk for him, and he does all the talking out there on the track.
right, he
Yeah,
does he talks chapters and chapters of books for all the stuff he does on track. Man,
I know.
it's unreal.
No, absolute legend. And last MotoGP race is coming up. Man, dude, I've asked everybody this. Are you team Pecco or Martin?
I'd like to see Martin, and I have nothing against Pecco, but I'd like to see Martin do it just from like the historical aspect too of like independent team, and he's leaving Aprilia and kind of shake things up a bit. And I think it'll just make Pecco and him more hungry for next year too, which I think will be cool. And it's been so crazy seeing like Pecco free them both being so young. They're so different, right? Like Martini's just all aggressive attack, 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 and Pecco seems very much more like refined. Like he's patient and how he does things and is very like calculated. I think Martin's he's doing that more now, but I think Pecco's just on like another like level in a way how he approaches that. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
I want to see Brad do really well next year, but I think it'll be interesting to see how things go. And beyond that, too, like once the rule changes come into effect in 2027, I'm real curious how that goes.
Yeah, there's man, I always tell people what a great time to be alive with all these changes and happening in racing, right? We've
Mhm.
seen 500s to the first one, 500 two-strokes to the four-strokes
Mhm.
to 800s to back to the thousands and the freaking ugly duckling wings and all that snazzy jazz that goes. I'm not a big fan, right? bikes to me just take all that stuff off. Man, it looks so beautiful back in the day, right? You don't need wings and all that stuff. I get it, but
You know?
I'm just old school, so
No, I'm with you. Like I get, it's supposed to be the pinnacle and be the coolest tech and everything, but visually, I just am not a fan.
you know,
It needs to look. I just think they look cleaner without, like,
absolutely they do, Ryan. I mean, it's night and day difference. So I'm tell everybody who's on your team, like who's your tire, your data engineer guy, your suspension, all that good stuff.
I mean, for the most part, it's me doing a lot of it. We're still kind of figuring out who we're going to have all team as far as like personnel, because we're trying to balance out like schedules and everything. My wife's always there for me to help with everything, and like Eric from Superbike Supply, he's always been there to help. I've got a couple other friends who are going to be helping me out. Like my friend, they're with me for my first road day around by the Road America, like, which is supposed to be my Road America debut. Um, so we'll have like my buddies race in there, and then they both also club race. One of them has done some crewing for some other teams in the past as well, and then others. I was trying to get just acclimated into the environment as well, because they've helped crew and run their own programs, but they hadn't done anything with Moto America. I've done some crewing for some other teams in the past and helped out some friends, so I wanted to get them kind of exposed to that. That way they get that experience under their belts. So things are coming together. That's kind of what the off season's all about. We always say, especially up here in the Midwest, like, it sucks having to have the off season, but I actually don't mind it from the fact that you kind of get to regroup and plan and everything and have that time off.
Yeah, and it goes by so quick too, right? Next year will come up
Yeah.
like this, and yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing though, man. It really is. And so I'll be at Road Atlanta next year, so I'll definitely see you there.
Okay.
For sure for the moto. So I always do. Well, I'm going to be my first year for Daytona. I want to do Daytona,
Mm,
Coda for the MotoGP race, then Daytona,
mm.
then Road Atlanta, Mid Ohio, Jersey, and Barber. Those are the ones I'm planning on hitting.
Okay.
Oh, and BSB. I want to go back to Cadwell Park. So yeah, busy 2025 for sure.
Well, I can be your official luggage carrier and go over to Cadwell with you, because man, that would be awesome.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll just stuff you in my luggage and put you on the plane, and
Yeah,
we
we'll
can
make
do
it
it.
work.
Absolutely. Hey, that's what I tell you about. We're in this together. We'll figure it out.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? We're in it together. So yeah, we'll definitely make it
Well,
work.
well, if you get a chance to get up to Road America, you should let me know.
I will. I got a buddy that lives literally 20 minutes from the track. So when I go down there,
That's how far I live
for
from
really,
from Road America. So,
yeah, nice.
or if you want to get that RC51 out on the big track.
I do, man. I want to, man. I want to take her out and ride her on the track. I don't want to send it and throw it down the road because
Right.
she's expensive to replace anything on
No,
it. You know what I
I
mean?
hear you. Got to
Uh,
keep the baby looking nice.
yeah, got to keep the queen happy.
Especially
That's
that
for
one.
sure. Yeah, I
Hmm.
know, man. It's always been one of my dream bikes, bro. So, I have an 848 EDR race bike that needs a motor. I had the money for it, but I bought the RC51 instead. So
Can't
that's
fault
kind of
that.
how that happened. No,
You can
I
get
mean that's what
you
everybody
can.
says.
I almost feel like you can get a motor easier than you can get an RC51.
Absolutely right. And of course, I wouldn't just buy a used motor. I'd send it off to
Yeah.
uh, my buddy John out there at EDR and just let him do his magic on it, and
Yep.
boom. So yeah,
For sure.
yeah, man. So, bro, how do you rate your season this year?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. Overall, I would say the second half went very well. The first half started well. Um, the As I kept saying, the Moto America debut did not go to plan, unfortunately, and I'll try and keep this backstory short, because anyone who's like kind of followed my journey for a bit already kind of know this, and it sounds absolutely laughable for me to say all this because it doesn't sound real, but I was supposed to make my debut. What was it, 2021, 2022 now? or 2021 in Twins Cup. Motor blew up before the race round. Man, the years are all blending together. So I had a mechanical issue. Then the next year, so I had an SV built for Twins Cup again, had a spare motor, and I did testing at Jennings in February. Motor blew up, and then I got the motor fixed, and that blew up. No, I bought another motor from someone, and then we took it down to the dyno. That blew up. Or no, I'm sorry. I fixed my original motor. That blew up on the dyno. I got a motor from someone else. Took that to Road America to do testing the week. So this was a week before the Road America round. The motor I bought blew up on Monday. I was borrowing what was now my C motor, my third motor, from a friend. Went home, threw that in the bike. Guess what happened to that motor?
Bye-bye.
Yep. And everything was checked and rebuilt fresh. I didn't build the motors. It was done by, they were all done by different people. And they were fresh. And we determined the reason the motors blew up, the two sequentially was like the tune was off in them, because that was the only thing we could pinpoint, was like the tune was off, and it looked like it was tuned. I think it was too lean. So basically, that my debut didn't go obviously to plan. I didn't make my debut that second time. So in 2023, I got this R6. I wanted to get some time on it. I was like, I need to have a fresh start. I'm moving up to Super Sport, and the week everything was good. I was getting seat time in on the bike. I had the bike out at pit earlier this year. I specifically went out there actually because it was supposed to rain, and I wanted wet time on the bike because I hadn't ridden it in the rain yet. And it usually rains at least one day at Road America for the motorway round. Everything went well there. I went out. There was 2 days of riding, track days before the Moto America event, as always at Road America, and then the R6 motor blew. And like,
welcome to racing,
dude. So I went home. We took the motor out of I had this project bike that I was working on, another R6 street bike motor, stock bike. Threw that in the bike. We're scrambling. We got the bike dyno tuned like Thursday night, and got it back in. Like we made like there's like a last minute tech you can do like Friday morning. Cause like I didn't make it for moving and everything. My guys just went and set up. We got the bike in. We made it, but we didn't end up making the grid. I think in Q1 I was like a half second short, but then everybody went quicker the next day. I wasn't able to go quicker, so I ended up being like over a second off the grid, like cutoff times. But my trap speeds on average were about 25 miles an hour down. So I was losing seconds a lap. I went out in P1. I remember thinking like, all right, I'll go out behind some people, try and get a tow. Well, I couldn't get a tow with that big of a deficit. So I was like, second session, what I'm gonna go out ahead of everybody, and then hopefully they come by me going into like turn 5, which they did. And I could see I would catch people basically by the time we'd get down through the carousel. But I knew as soon as we started getting out of the carousel onto any sort of straightaway, they were going to be gone, and they were. I mean, I think my highest trap speed was 145, and that was, I remember I caught someone's like draft as we came up to the line, but I was usually around 140, and everyone else was probably like, it was around, from what I remember, it was like 165, 170. Yeah. So that's why I decided to regroup, figure out what the heck am I going to do now. And with the rules they're changing to Super Sport for next year, crazily enough, going to stock 1,000 is like the most economical path, right? So I got this 21R1, had under 1,000 miles on it, was already in race trim, pretty much ready to go for stock 1,000. There's some parts I actually have to take off because they aren't legal, but stock motor, I'm going to leave it stock. It's going to be that way. I want reliability at this point, like no more blown up engines. And then we're just going to And like I said, we're going to try and hit as many rounds of the Stock 1000 Championship as we can. Ideally, we're going to hit all the rounds, but I want to at least hit Road America, obviously, Mid Ohio, and VIR. I've never been to Mid Ohio or VIR, but I've only been to Mid Ohio for like an IndyCar race, and everyone just raves about it. So I'm excited to get there. And VIR is one. I was excited to see that back on the schedule.
Me too, buddy. It's right down the street from me. I freaking love VR. I love Mid Ohio too. It was my first time this year actually going to Mid Ohio. It's a beautiful place, man. Never ridden it. Got tons of laps around VR, but not Mid Ohio. Yeah, man. It's what a beautiful circus, right? And a beautiful journey you've had to where you are right now.
It's been a rough one, but it's been one of those where like, all right, I know I made it through this. Then if something else comes up, like it doesn't seem as bad. But, I mean, it was, dude. Like I remember the day the R6 motor blew. Well, it was the same thing happened when the SV motor blew. Like I was completely fine. I mean, I wasn't fine. I was upset. But the second I saw my wife, I just like broke down into tears. Like I was just so upset because you put so much time and effort and your heart into everything to like have something happen like outside of your control like that. It was just like and repeatedly.
Devastating. Yeah, it's devastating.
But
yeah.
When the crazy thing was, I remember thinking back when the R6 motor blew, the thought of when the SV motors blew, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm not even gonna try. For whatever reason, when the R6 motor blew, the thought like of giving up, like in my head, I remember thinking like it didn't like cross my mind, even though I knew it was going to be a pretty impossible task. But I've always been one of those people where like I tell people like at my job or like other people I meet, like the way I was raised is not to like, I don't ever think I'm going to be the smartest person in the room. I'd rather always be known as like the hardest working in the room. Like I will put in the hard work. I'd rather people know that I'm going to like get the job done regardless than just like he's going to have the best idea or you know what I mean? Like the work ethic thing has always just been something that I've gotten from my parents and my upbringing. So that's always been like priority one for me.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's I was a military brat. My dad was a fighter pilot in the Navy, so yeah, it's I understand all about it. My dad's favorite thing would be like example, what do you want to eat for dinner? I don't know. Well, if you did know, what would it be? And he used to say that all the time. I'm like, dude, will you stop asking me that, right? Because he wants you to think, like he wants you to say something. I get it, man. Trust me.
So I got to ask, what did your dad fly?
He didn't fly the Tomcat. He flew a A4.
Like the Corsairs?
Yeah,
the
Corsair. Yep, a Corsair, and I'm pretty sure it was the A4 too. It was two different ones he did. But yeah, it's
that's awesome.
I remember going on an aircraft carrier first time. Well, the only time in real life, I was like, holy shit, dude! It's like huge. It's like a whole planet. It's crazy,
dude.
How big it is.
That's cool. I've always been huge into planes, so that's cool. I grew up near like an air museum, and then like there was an A-10 base where I grew up. So I've always been big into planes. So that's cool. What was your dad's call sign? Do you know?
He's gonna kill me. I know it, and I can't even think of it right now. Thanks, Ryan, for putting me on the spot.
I know. I always think it's interesting how they get those.
It'll come to me.
Okay.
I forgot what he told me.
Text me later.
I will. I forgot the story he told me behind it. I think it was something to do with wrestling. I want to say it's sumo.
Okay. Well, because I found out I always thought like when I was younger you got to choose those, but they just like get assigned you based off some random thing. So
nope. Yeah, it's cool though, man. You know what I mean? Because it's it's kind of like me. I didn't name myself the show. That was a nickname given to me by Andy, my buddy Andy Rowe. That him and Joel started the podcast. He's the one that gave me the nickname of the show. So it just
mine's just to play off my name.
Kind of stuck. So Rhino, I know, I see it. I love it, dude.
Well, it's the first two letters of my first name, first two letters of my last name, and then my middle initial / my Korean name. So
I love it, man. I love it. So let me ask you this, and I ask all my racer friends this: how do you mentally prepare for a race, and do you have any rituals you go through? Right? Do you like left boot on before you right boot or anything?
I try to almost, I guess I'll say like stay distracted and like loose right before a race. Like I want to be like, I'll make, talk to people and just like check things over on the bike. I always, right now, I guess my routine for like club race stuff is like when we get around first call, I'll always kind of double check my tire pressures and then, but I always do like the whole, helmet on, and then I do usually like right glove, left glove kind of thing. Uh, if I'm like, especially if it's hot out, I usually actually stay in my suit like the whole day. I don't have it up. I'll have it down like around my waist and tied off, but I'll usually kind of stay in it partly because I kind of just stay in that mode better that way. And two, if it's hot, I know if I take my suit off, I'm not going to want to put it back on.
I'm done for the day. I feel you.
Yeah.
That's why I tell everybody, you need to have more than one undersuit, but most of my friends
Yeah.
that race and ride, that they know that. Some of them don't. They're like, well, why you always? I went the last track day I did. I went with a buddy of mine. We was planning on 2 days. We only ended up doing one because he absolutely devastated his bike, right? And he just wanted to leave.
Mhm.
So I was like, let's just go because we're a team. We're in this together. Like I said, right? He's like, dude, I unpacked my bag. I have like 400 suits. He's like, why you got some? You're here for 2 days. I was like, bro, you can never have too many undersuits, bro. It's like underwear. You cannot never have not too many.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, can I borrow one? I was like, absolutely not. You should have been prepared. Now, of course, I'd let him borrow one, but you know what I mean. It's hilarious.
You should told him it's like underwear, man. I'm not letting you borrow that.
Yeah, man, I can't do that, man. Trust me, you don't want to smell my funk, dude. No, absolutely not, dude. Hilarious, Ryan. Listen, I've enjoyed this, man. Dude, I got so many more questions, bro, but I'm definitely going to save the rest of them for our part 2 of this podcast. I want to get into the part, which is my favorite. I tell everybody that, Ryan, where we get to know Ryan on a personal level, right away from the fame and the motorcycles and all that stuff. So I want to start off. Usually, I start off with the same couple questions here lately. I've been mixing it up. So
Okay.
you're married, right? I'm married, and
Yep.
you're married. I met my wife on a blind date by
Mm.
a mutual friend, right? They set it up, and yeah, that's how we ended up together. So how did you and your wife meet?
So we met through a phone call, and I was hanging out with a friend of mine at the time who she knew through college. So we went to 2 different colleges, about an hour and a half, 2 hours apart. And the friend I was hanging out with was a coworker of mine. That's how we originally met. Because I was working at like Target in high school. We were hanging out in my hometown, and she was calling him to talk about some plans they had for when they get back to college, when they get back to school. Because I think they were on break. And she called in. They were talking. She could hear my voice, I guess, in the background. And for whatever reason, and I'm going to explain why I think this is funny in a second, but for whatever reason, because my wife's much more like shy. This isn't her normal character. But what she did is she's like, "Oh, is he single? Is he cute?" When she asked like who my friend was with, she's like, "Oh, I'm with my buddy Ryan," and that's what she said. And she doesn't really know why she said to this day why she did that because that's outside of her. That's not her normal character at all. But I always just tell everyone she just heard my sultry Daniel Craig like voice in the background. She's like, I gotta know who that is. I mean, that's got to be it, right? What else reason is there? So
I love it. I love
yeah,
it, dude. I just said the same thing, girl, because I'm TNT. You heard it, and it's like, yeah, that was it. It's done. It's hilarious.
yep.
That's awesome. I love it. It's. Do you guys have any kids?
No, not yet.
Yeah. Is that something you guys plan on doing in the future?
Yep, at some point
Yeah,
for sure.
I
So I
love it,
think
dude.
house was on the list. We just checked that off about a year or two ago, and then want to
Congratulations.
kind of take the. Well, not or as I say, we got a house. I got a garage. So, um, but yeah, want to get a dog sometime soon too, and whatnot. But yeah, we got the garage checked off, so I'm happy. It's insulated and heated, so I'm like happy as a clam in the winter now. No more apartment garage that's unheated.
Right. I feel you. I'm the same way. Like my wife, she of course we did the adult thing. I got a house. I got a detached garage. It's a
Okay,
huge, it's not like super big. I mean, you could fit 4 cars in it, so it's pretty decent.
nice.
2 in front, 2 in the back, and still have room right on sides. I
Mm,
forget the measurement of it. So my wife's got most of the house. She actually has her own living room. I got my own little living room with my TV and of course motorcycle shit in it, right? And then I got
yeah,
this is the spare this is spare room. So instead of turning it into a guest room, I was like, nope, this is my podcast room. This is what I'm turning into the podcast room. So yeah, it's
yep.
but our house is kind of, well, it's a ranch. It's not like super big. It's like what 1,600 square feet. It was built in the 60s,
Oh,
right?
ours
So the
too.
closets are small. The master's not. The master's got the half bath, but with my wife's dresser and her 15 billion freaking clothes, I didn't have no room in there. So I was like, so my clothes dresser's in here. The closet in here is where I keep all my clothes and stuff. So if we would have had another kid, then yeah, obviously I'd be in the basement doing this, which is fine, or my TV room. But yeah, I spend a lot of time in my garage. It's not heated and it's not AC. I like ice baths and I like the cold. But I know people laugh when I say that. Like my wife, she'll tell you, she'll come in here right now and tell you, dude, when it's snowing outside, I go outside in shorts and that's it. Walking around in snow, laying in the snow. She's like, dude, get your ass inside. What is wrong with you? Right. Do I get cold? Absolutely, I get cold, right? But I do have a heater, one of those kerosene, not the kerosene
Mm.
heater. It's the big cylinder. You plug it in the wall, you put diesel fuel in,
Yep.
it'll blow you out the freaking garage. So yeah, I got one of those out there. But yes, my wife's the same way, man. She's got 99.9% of the house, which is fine. That's my queen. Have at it.
Yep.
You decorate, you boo boo, you do your thing. But my wife, right? I got like these spots on my wall, bro, where we got like 8 different colors of paint. And they've been up there for like 3 years, and she hadn't decided. I gotta say this quietly before she comes in here and kills me. She has not decided on what color she wants. I'm like, what color you want? She's like, oh no, I'm thinking about adding more to it. I'm like, which I can't really bitch about it because if she picked one and I painted the whole freaking house, she's like, you know what? I don't like that. I want to change it. I'd be like, you got to be kidding me right now, right? So I'm giving her time to pick on a color. All the colors I like. She's like, nah, absolutely not. But again, it's your house,
There
babe.
you
You do you, boo boo. That's hilarious. Oh my god. So I questions I do ask is pets, right? I'm a big pet owner. I actually got my baby girl. She's
go. Oh yeah.
sleeping here on the floor. She's old, but her name's Charlie. Everybody says I like your boy dog. I was like, she's a girl. Or no, yeah, she's got a boy name. She's a character. I'll tell you that right now.
How old?
She acts like a Charlie. Dude, honestly, I really don't know. She got cataracts in both eyes. She's gray, but Ryan, my my wife's I don't want to. My wife's stepdad, her stepbrother, right? Her stepsister. We go down there to Richmond. They live in Richmond. We go down there. We stay with them. They had Charlie. And one day we were leaving. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna get rid of Charlie. We just ain't got the time for it. Do you want her?" And I had put my dog down. It's been probably about a year, and like all my animals, I'm gonna let it choose me. It's up to her. If you want to come home with me, so I open up my car door, open up the door. So you want to go home with me? And she beeline straight to the car. So we've been kicking it since, right? But I asked them, how old is Charlie? She's like, we really don't know.
Okay.
So they assumed when I got her, she was like 2 years or 3 years old. She's like
Okay.
13 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's up there. She still gets around, hobbles, and yeah, she's my queen too. So
That's cool.
yeah. But real quick, well, what I was going to say about kids, Ryan, is man, it's the best thing I ever did in my life. It changed my life in a way that I never envisioned it would change you as a person, right? And not only does it changed me as a person, it changed the way I view things and the way I see the world, right? It's crazy. Um, yeah, so I'm excited, man. So one day when you do have it, it's going to be obviously. Let me ask you this: then, being a future dad, right? Are you obviously going to want your kid to be a MotoGP superstar one day?
I mean, if they want to be, it's a
All
depend.
right.
We'll have to see what name they end up with. So my my wife's a first grade teacher, and she teaches ballet and she teaches swim. So the joke is our list of available names would go down each year because every year there's going to be that one kid or two kids like, well, I can't have a kid named Kyle because I had a Kyle this year and he's awful. So my solution to that has just basically been to just throw out MotoGP rider names or a Valentino or a Pecco or a. I keep joking with her about Maverick because like I don't know anyone else named Maverick, and Maverick sounds like a pretty cool name.
Yeah, Maverick is a cool name, right? I got a buddy. His son's actually named Maverick, and he's fast too. He's gonna be a legend. Well, watch what I say. Y'all know the name soon enough. Trust me.
There you
But yeah,
go.
Maverick. So that's what I did, Ryan. I was like, hey, Valentino Rossi's the GOAT to me. In my eyes, there's nobody ever greater than Valentino. I'm not talking about the way he won races, what he did for the sport, right? How he elevated the sport, what he brought to the sport. And of course his riding styles throughout the time that he raced, right? From 2 strokes to 4 strokes to aero to ride height. I mean, all that, right? There's not hardly anybody out there that would be able to do it for as long as he did and be able to adapt and change, right? Um, but yeah, it's so of course I said Valentina Rossi. My wife said, hell no, absolutely not, right? She's like, Rossi, yes, but not Valentina, because I want my kid to be made fun of. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Us Americans, they'd be like, oh,
Yeah,
Valentina,
right.
what is wrong with you, right?
Yeah, that's a good call.
So my second Nikki Hayden, right? So I was like, well, Hayden Rossi. So that's his name, Hayden Rossi, after Valentino and Nikki.
So those are like your two guys, your two faves.
Hit them and of course my man Marco Simoncelli. So I find myself, Ryan, that once Rossi retired, I like a lot of riders. I really don't have a favorite when it comes, and I'm speaking of solely of MotoGP, right?
Sure.
But outside of I'm fans of a lot of them. I'll put it to
Yeah.
you. I Brad Binder, Jack Miller, Pedro Acosta,
Mm-hmm.
Martin, yada yada yada. As far as outside of MotoGP, my favorite riders in the world are all my friends that race. I don't care if they're club racing, BSB, TT, Moto America, ASBK, it don't matter. You guys are my favorite. So yeah, that's my answer.
All right. Can't
So
argue with that.
yeah, no, I mean it's an absolute awesome to watch my friends in their journey, right? And all the emotions that they have and that they give not only to their loved ones and that are real close to them, right? But also their friends and everybody else that you guys don't know. You touch other people in a
For
way,
sure.
right? You don't even know it because they don't tell you, right? But
Right.
you do. And that right there is just, yeah, it's magical, man. It
No,
really
I think
is.
that makes sense. I mean, you can. I definitely have some favorites. I mean, you can kind of tell
Oh
from the
yeah.
hat and the poster behind me, but I get that. I saw you had that, and then I almost brought up mine because I actually have well, I have I have the full actually set, but this is that's Hayes
The,
body work. I've got
yeah.
actually a full set. The rest of it's down in the basement. That's
I
actually
don't
that's
go ahead.
actually where so my race number 411. It's actually a combination. It's Hayes for 4, and then I have 11 for Speeds.
I love it. I like Ben Speeds too, right? Like I said, I'm a fan, but my favorite racers, yeah, dude, and Anthony Gobert, outside of
Oh
MotoGP, I
yeah,
mean, yeah, Ben Speeds and all that. But yeah, I got Bobier's front, and I got the tail section off of it. I just don't have the
that's
two
awesome.
full frames, and I got some boots, and of course I got big shout out to my man Birch at K Tech for sending me some cool merch. Birch, you guys are proper mega, and all my friends there at K Tech, but. I also got this 2022 Moto America Pittsburgh trophy.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome, ain't it?
I didn't even catch that right away. That's cool.
Yeah, it's because I got my chest protector. I want to,
Right.
Ryan, I need to rearrange my room. Like I got other ideas I need to do, but my issue is I got so much motorcycle stuff, and my wife forbids me to put it anywhere else in the house besides my TV room, right? And I want to show it off as much as I can.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go through here, and some of these posters I'm gonna take down. And I got a lot of my friends that race. Like if you send me a poster, sign it. Guess what? It's gonna go up on my podcast wall, so when I'm live, people can see it too as well, right? And
Cool.
take all my MotoGP and all those posters out and transfer them into my TV room. So it's gonna take me a couple days to do it. I just need my wife not to be here, and my son being there playing Fortnite, so I can just make this mess and do what I gotta do and clean it up before she gets home. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I'm with
You
you.
guys know what I'm talking about. Come on now. Why are you making this mess? I got to. Yeah. But anyway, dude, my wife is absolutely amazing. Without her love and support, I wouldn't be able to do all these podcasts I do. I tell you that.
I'm with you.
So yeah, she's definitely my everything. Let me ask you this: are you a coffee drinker?
I'm not. I
No,
I'll do tea.
I
I'm.
like tea too.
I would say not that I'm solely coming around to coffee, but my tastes have changed over the years. Where like I've ordered like a what you call it, like an espresso martini a couple times, which I would never have normally done. But like years ago, like if I ever drink wine, it had to be like basically taste like Kool-Aid. But now like I'm all about like red wine, and I think part of that's because well, like my gateway wine was like this bourbon barrel aged wine I had when I was out in like Sonoma, because I'm a big Scotch and bourbon guy, so that was really the reason why there. But yeah, no coffee for me. I mean, I like the smell, and I'm sure there's it's kind of like wine, right, or beer or whatever. Like there's so many different kinds of coffee. I'm sure I'd find ones that I like. Like I think, but I've had a total of 2 cups of coffee in my life. One was when I was in high school, and it got spilled on me, so I didn't get to finish it. The second was when we were out in Hawaii in 2019. We were on the Big Island in Kona, and everybody before we went was like, "You got to try Kona coffee. You got to try Kona coffee." Even though I was like, "I don't like coffee," like, "No, you got to try it." And it was very smooth. Like, because I asked them like, "Well, how do I know if it was good or not?" And like, "Well, it shouldn't taste bitter, and it should just kind of taste like smooth." And it did. Like, I liked it. I just was like, it didn't like flip a switch from like, "Oh, I got to have it," kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I do. I drink coffee, so I do like tea, but I don't drink soda. I don't drink sweet tea. I don't drink unsweet
I don't
tea.
either.
I barely drink lemonade. Like I'm just straight water, right? Like I literally carry a gallon of jug of water to work. And people looking at me like, really, a gallon? And dude, I fill that thing up twice while I'm at work. Like I'll bring it full and I fill it up again, and it'll be 3/4 gone before I leave. They're like, I don't see how you drink so much water. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't see how you must drink so much soda, right?
Yep. I'm the same way. It's
It's
water,
bad
whiskey,
for
or
you.
protein shakes for me. That's about
Yes.
the main
Yeah,
three.
absolutely. So let me ask you this, bro. What's for dinner tonight?
What's for dinner tonight? That's a good question. Actually, what I'm probably gonna do, I made some shrimp burgers earlier in the week, meal
Mm,
prep and stuff. I'm probably gonna have that, and then I think Natalie made some mac and cheese before I sat down here, so I'll probably do something like that.
I
Mac and
love.
cheese is one I always tell people like when as you grow up, I feel like a lot of people's taste buds change where they you want the more like adult versions of food, but pretty much everybody I've talked to, like everybody's still good with like a nice box of like Kraft mac and cheese or like the Food Club brand. Like everybody wants that like artificial nuclear yellow orange. They don't want like this fancy mac and cheese. Hello.
Podcast. What are you doing? Go get the lightsaber and show everybody your lightsaber. I told Ron you gonna come in, and
Absolutely.
everybody already
Yeah.
knows. Yeah.
I want to see this thing. I got to see what
Yes.
color it is.
Yes, you can cut off the light and cut. Yeah, you can cut off the light. Dude, so Ron, this thing, dude, I paid $300 for it. It's made by Sabers. It's got like 27 different colors, all kinds of sounds. It's got a memory card, you Bluetooth. It's absolutely
The racer
crazy.
me is like, man, that's almost a set of tires.
Here it is. It's
I don't know what color is it.
Luke Skywalker.
He wants to see the colors.
Oh,
Nice.
Right, there's a lot.
I know. Well, listen, you can turn off the light while I still podcast, but just keep the volume down on that thing because it's freaking loud.
Volume low.
Yeah, there you go. All
You
right.
can change the volume and everything.
Dude,
Damn.
bro, I'm telling you, it's got an app you can get on your phone, and you can do all kinds of things with this lightsaber. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's got like, if people are hitting you with the blaster, it does the blaster effects.
If they ever do a night race somewhere, I want that to be the green flag.
Right. So a good buddy of mine, Riston Griggs, he's big into Star Wars. So me, him, and Rossi sit down and we freaking chat it up all the time. So
I'm trying to get more into it now that I have Disney Plus, but there's so many to watch now. It's so hard to keep up.
Man, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Everybody knows that. Me and my boy, obviously. It's just one of those things. I guess when you grow up as a kid and you start to watch something, and it just sticks with you, right, for the rest of your life. And of course, I like sci-fi, I like the Matrix and all that cool stuff, right? Conspiracy theory and whatever, man. But yeah, I like that stuff. But listen, I love to cook, Ryan. Is that something you do too as well?
Yeah, I do. I do majority of the cooking, partly because I usually eat pretty healthy, so I like to like meal prep and do stuff. But I do enjoy cooking. My dad's a huge cook and baker. Like that's him. That's like his racing. Like that's like his passion and everything. Like their basement's just full of cookbooks, you know. So that's always been his thing. So I kind of got some of that, not on his level, but uh, I try to do like as much as I can. Partly because too, with Natalie's schedule, like I said, teaching dance in first grade and ballet and everything, and swim. It's like her schedule's a lot more packed than mine. Like I'm fortunate where I can also work at home, so it's easier for me to take care of that as well. So that and I like to do that as well. So uh, yeah, I do like to cook when I can.
I love to cook. I get it from my mom. And you said macaroni and cheese before my son busted up in here with this
I was
epic
saying, did
lightsaber,
he hear
right?
it?
Yeah, he I like mac and cheese too, right? And you're right, everybody likes the box with the bright colors, but I will say this: I like my homemade macaroni and cheese. It's a lot freaking better, and then
Yeah,
you can mix and match whatever cheeses you want in it, and that's the beauty
that's
about
true.
cooking. You could put I'm gonna do Romano cheese, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and blah blah blah, and some milk, and just listen. It's super easy to make.
I mean,
It's not
to be
difficult at all.
fair, I've never tried making a homemade one, and I don't know that I ever had like a proper one. So I'll
Okay,
have to
all
have you
right.
make me one sometime.
Dude, absolutely I will, right? And you're in the
You don't
States
have to
for it,
do it here.
man.
I would say you're gonna have to come up here, and I can load you up on whatever cheese you want.
Bro, I got you.
I
We
can
will
just
make
mail
this
you
happen.
cheese.
Yes, we will make that happen. So your favorite box macaroni and cheese, what is it?
Oh, my favorite box macaroni and cheese. We're doing this thing where we're trying a bunch of different brands right now. So that is to be determined.
Okay. What brand did you don't know what brand she cooked tonight?
So there's a brand, I think it's called Goodles. I think
Google.
it's what it's called.
I think if I've had, I
But
don't
like
think.
we've had like there's like that chickpea brand we've tried. Obviously we've had like the Kraft. And I randomly just watched this video the other day of it was like these pro chefs rating box mac and cheese, and the ones they rated like the two best. I grabbed a box of one, and it's this brand called Cabo, I think, which I think is like a cheese brand.
Yep, I've had
But the
that.
other one they said was good that I didn't buy yet was Cheeto brand. And
Bro,
part of the reason I didn't buy it is because in college I worked at Frito Lay, so I was around them all the time. And like actually, I'm gonna say like secret pro tip. I always tell people this, and they always kind of look at me a little weird until they try it, until I explain it. If you like Cheetos, or honestly, mainly Cheetos. If you like any chips though, you could probably do it. But Cheetos, if you like Cheetos, take them out of the package and go microwave them for like 15 seconds, 20 seconds, so they're warm. And people look at me like it's weird, but when I would work at Frito Lay, I was a packer. You could eat as much as you want while you worked. I didn't because I knew I'd end up weighing 600 pounds if I did. But the Cheetos were warm, and I always liked them that way afterwards. After that, so and when people look at me weird, I'm like, think of popcorn, warm popcorn versus like not warm.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
little bit better when it's warm. So yeah, take them out of the package and microwave them for like 15, 20 seconds and try them because
Dude,
they actually spray the cheese on wet.
it makes sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And listen, the cobalt macaroni and cheese. It's deep. I like it. It's a
Yeah,
good box macaroni and cheese. There's another one we have out here. It's called uh private. It's private stock. Maybe I will next time I get it. I'll take a picture. You can buy it for $5, and they have different they have this Asiago cheese. Blah blah blah. And man, it's so good,
Asiago is my
right?
favorite cheese, man.
Me too, right? And they have like a 5 Italian cheese. It's really good. But that Cheetos mac and cheese, bro, to me, versus your Kraft mac and cheese in the box with your powder, and you got to add the butter and the milk, right? I'm strictly those box macaroni and cheese. The Cheetos, hands down, by far is the best. It
Yeah,
is so good.
all
Yes,
right,
dude, the jalapeno, and I love hot and spicy, so of course I get the
I do
flaming
too.
hot. Do you watch the hot ones on YouTube?
Yeah, I haven't watched all of them, but I've started going back through and watching them. And like I was just talking about it with some friends of mine the other day, and like one of my favorite ones is like the Jennifer Lawrence one because when she tries the hottest one, she just like I've never seen someone flip like from okay to like panic attack so quickly in my life, and it was hilarious. Like I'm glad she was okay, but her reaction was hilarious.
Yeah, the reason why I say that because most people have, but I'm just trying to get to levels like the last dab, dude. I have a couple bottles of that. I love it. It's
Oh
good,
yeah,
right? It's hot. It's hot, Ryan. I ain't gonna lie. Like it's 3 million Scoville, right? Which is a lot, but it's got good flavor, right? This is my thing with hot sauces. Most hot sauce you put on anything, it changes the flavor profile of the food, right? That's not what you want. You want to add heat, but still have that flavor profile, right? Um,
yeah.
that's why, dude, I like sriracha, but I barely eat it. Otherwise, I might as well just drink spoonfuls of sriracha because that's everything just tastes like sriracha. Same thing with ketchup and all that, right? But what I tell people is you can use grapeseed oil, pretty much any extra virgin olive oil or whatever, that and crushed red pepper. Mix it together,
Oh
let
yeah.
it sit. There you go. That's
Make some chili oil, basically.
basically that's what it is chili oil, right? You want it
Yeah,
hotter, do some fresh habanero, not fresh habaneros, but the dried habaneros, and
yeah.
yeah, I like all that stuff.
No, I'm with you.
Sure.
I like hot stuff, but I just a lot of hot sauces I don't like. To your point, if it's just all you taste is heat, or the ones that are real vinegary and you just taste vinegar and heat, I want some actual flavor. You know what I mean? I just don't want just I want it to like accentuate like the food. That's why I like combos where it's like sweet spicy. So that's why I like a lot of Thai food or Vietnamese food where they do like the mango or a basil or the mint with like the peanut and then the spice. Like I don't want just straight heat.
I love Thai food. It's one of my favorite foods in the world. Thai food, Greek food, Indian food. Um, yeah, it's of course I like burgers and shit like that. But me personally, I'd rather go like my wife's like, I want Chinese food. I'm like, oh, so our Chinese food restaurant that is down the street, and I also got a Thai place down the street. So I'll call her Chinese place while I'm picking up my Thai food and go pick up hers and come back,
There
right?
you
Because
go.
I just
Everybody's happy.
bro, everybody's happy. Dude, listen, I like Chinese food. I prefer not to really eat it because it all kind of tastes the same, especially once you open your mind and you start Thai flavors. You'll go back and eat Chinese food. You'll be like, dude, this is bland. Like it has no flavor at all, really, right? I'm just being honest with you. It's just me and what I
No,
taste.
it's so I just gotta tell you that, and he's gonna he's gonna laugh because I've been like I feel like I've told all my friends this. So I've got this buddy. His name is Brandon, and he has the most weird. Basically, he has the palate of like an 8-year-old. And we found out like we'll have this game where we basically just ask him if he'll eat all just any random foods. And the one that's like blown the most people's minds is like he does not like rice, any rice. There's no combo of rice that he likes, or like yeah, or he doesn't like queso. He like if you give him chips with salsa, he just eat the chips. No salsa, no cheese. Like burger's just gonna be like burger, cheese, bun. You know, like
Bro,
he changed it up once on us and like did mozzarella cheese instead of like I think just American cheese on his burger. Like that was it. That was like a big change for him. So we always make fun of him and like we'll just ask him randomly. Like I'll text him and if we're having a certain food, I'll be like, "Do you think Brandon eats that?" And I'll just text him the food question mark and then he'll just answer. I think I did it with like hash browns. And he was like, "No, he won't eat hash browns. The only form he'll eat is like I think one's from Taco John's or something."
dude, that's crazy,
I got a
man.
Christmas mode.
Okay, show me your cool Christmas mode. Yeah, dude, you can download all kinds of stuff to this thing. But
Oh,
dude, that's awesome.
Candy cane.
Candy cane, I love
dang!
it. I like it, dude. So my
I
boy
like
was
that.
the same way there for the longest time, dude. He was like, he won't eat macaroni and cheese. I'm like, bro, I don't. You're the only kid I know on the planet that don't mess with macaroni and cheese. You kidding me? Now I got him to where he tries everything. I'm like, bro, you got to try this. He'll try it once. I give it to him. Right? You got to at least try it one time because you
Yep.
never know. Might be your new favorite thing, right? But yeah, for the longest time, I make my homemade macaroni and cheese. I'm like, dude, you got to try it. He's like, nope, I don't want it. I'm like, bro, what is wrong? And then finally he says, I only like my babysitter, Brenda, when Brenda used to babysit him. I only like her macaroni and cheese, right? So I shoot her a text. I'm like, hey, Brenda, what kind of macaroni and cheese do you make for my boy? She's like, it's freaking box craft macaroni and cheese.
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
Bro, so I go out and I get some and I make it and he tastes it. You know what he says? Brenda's tastes better. I'm like, bro, dude, it's the same stuff. Nope, no, it ain't. So yeah, I feel
Must be
you
the
on that.
butter or the milk or something.
I guess, man. I don't know.
Weird.
But dude, we're already almost an hour and 10 of this, so I'm gonna ask you just two more questions. The rest I'm gonna save
Yeah, all good, man.
for part two. everybody knows I'm a big audiobook listener too, right? Do you read books or listen to the audiobooks?
I'm trying to get more into it. I'll listen to like podcasts and stuff. The I need to get back and finish it. And it's not a good excuse, but I was starting to read more, and then we did the move and everything with the house and whatnot. But I need to finish. I have Shaky Burns' book. I need to finish that. But like I said, right now it's been a lot of like podcasts and stuff where, like I was telling you, I think before we started, like the podcasts like that Rispoli and Corey are doing, like I'll listen to those and
Pipe
some of the older podcasts and yeah, Pipe Dreams. And then there's some other ones. I mean, most of them are like motorcycle related stuff, but then there's some stuff that are like related to like fitness and stuff that I'll listen to as well. But I used to read like a ton again from my dad because I mean, he'll read 6, 7 books a month at least. I was never at like that level, but I want to try and get more into it now, and especially like you said with audiobooks, I'll like kind of listen to podcasts, especially now more when I'm like traveling. You know, if I'm driving out to Pitt and it's an 8-hour drive, just kind of put something on so you can kind of listen. That way, I feel like I'm almost like being productive and kind of learning something and absorbing something instead of just either listening to the road noise or listening to some music. Not that I don't like music, but I just like it's kind of nice to kill two birds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. So tell me about your top 3 podcasts.
Ooh, top 3. Right now, it would be well the
They don't
well
all have to be. They don't all have to be motorcycle related. Like it could be motorcycle, Joe Rogan, and blah 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 blah. Right? Different
sure.
genres. So don't keep it the same.
Okay. Well, I mean, one would be like motorcycle podcast. Obviously, I mean we've got the Ping of the Gas one. We've got the ones with the uh, there's all the MotoGP ones, and like I said, the ones that Spoli's doing and whatnot. But the other one that I really listen to, there's one with, like I said, like it's not really a podcast. He just puts out episodes on content. There's a YouTube channel called like Renaissance Periodization, and I like to listen to him with a lot of. He's got a lot of good content on like fitness and whatnot and well being. And then the other one I'll randomly listen to sometimes that I've started to is there's a his name's Sean Ryan, like the Sean Ryan podcast, and I like his interviews that he does with, because I've always been like a big military history buff ever since I was little, uh, and I've just loved listening to his interviews that he's done with former like special ops guys, Delta Force, Army Rangers, and just hearing and it's also part of that is I love hearing their stories, and two, it's a lot of that's like really motivating and eye opening to me, and I'll use that sometimes if I'm thinking of like I said before, I'm thinking of a hard situation, or if like even if I'm like having like a tough gym session, I sometimes I'll just go into that mode where I think of like someone's had it way worse, right? Or like I'm having a hard day. Like people have gone through things that you can't even imagine or fathom doing. Like, and it's very humbling to hear those stories that they're going through. So I like to hear that, and like he's interviewed people from like there was a girl who like escaped from North Korea, and there was like a World War II vet, and so it's not just like people from I'll say like more so like the more modern era. So that I think that's cool. And I've listened to others interviews they've done with like when they've interviewed not his show specifically, but others where they've interviewed like guys who were when Band of Brothers came out, like members from them or Marine vets from the Pacific and whatnot. So like I just like listening to their stories and learning about things. And because I think it's especially nowadays, history always kind of teaches us, what we know now and everything, and kind of make sure we don't make those same mistakes, and just also to show like this is how things were done. So I always find it interesting to hear those perspectives of the past.
Oh, for sure. I like the Ryan Sean show. I listen to him. Another one I'll give you a recommendation on you should listen to is Danny Jones.
Mhm.
Danny Jones, he does a lot of he interviews military people too as well, but he also interviews people like people behind NASA or in AI or the CIA, just all kinds of stuff, right? Just different people. But I like them because it's those type of people that keep you interested, right? And I'm big on, I like the war stories and all that, right? So he actually got me on to Two Lamb. I heard Two Lamb's podcast on the Ryan Sean show, and actually had I listened to Two's book, The Way of the Ronin, which is really good. So yeah, I of course everybody knows I listen to a lot of freaking motorcycle podcasts. I don't listen to as many as people think I do. What's
That's
funny
because
is
you're too busy making them.
right, absolutely. I do other podcasts motorcycle related. I will recommend is my good mates out there in Australia. They have one called Moto PG. It's freaking they're hilarious. Um, and then another one is called Off Track. Yes, Off Track Brothers of
I know the
Christ
track
here,
one.
but the Off Track one out there in the UK, right? By my mate Dave Neal, where he does TT and BSB.
Hmm.
So he's really good. It's one that I recommend
I've
you
listened
guys
to some of his.
to check out too. Yeah,
Yeah, I've listened to some of his. They're good.
they are good, man. He's Dave's awesome, man. He's absolutely
Well,
amazing human being.
I feel like there's a lot of them popping up nowadays. Like even some of the riders, because Danny Bookin started doing a couple years ago, and then
Yep.
well, the one that I started listening to more that I haven't lately was Chasing the Racing.
Yep,
That
that's my shit.
and dude, I was so devastated when Chrissy Rouse passed. Like that year, I actually started following him more earlier that year just by happenstance. And he actually has, I don't know if you know it, but he has a video documentary that he did on his stock, super stock championship. It's on Amazon Prime. You can buy it. Highly recommend it. It was done very, very well.
I'm gonna have to find it after I end the podcast. But I actually got a real quick story. A Chrissy Rouse hat that I got at BSB. I was at BSB. Chrissy had already passed away. Huge fan of Chrissy and his buddy Dom and Chasing the Racing and all them. Right, I've
Oh
been
yeah.
obviously BSB for a long time. So I was there, and this guy walks up to me, and how did we meet? He walked up to me, and I walked up to him. I was like, bro, because he had Chrissy Rouse's hat on. I was like, hey man, I can't find a hat around here. Like, are they selling around here? He's like, no, mate, I actually ordered this off the line. I was like, oh, okay, cool. By the way, my name's Simcoe. I'm from America. It's an absolute honor to meet you. He's looking at me all crazy, right? And he looks at my head. He's like, is that you right there? I was like, yeah, man, that's me. He's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Right. He listened to the podcast. So I was like, cool, it's an absolute honor, whatever. So he turns around, he walks away. My buddy Daniel's walking with me. He's watching the guy the whole time. He's like, and then the guy, he taps him on my shoulder, and I stopped and I turn around. The guy comes back and he takes his Chrissy Rouse hat off and he gives it to me. So I take my podcast off and I give it to him. And at the time, that was the
Oh, that's
only
cool.
Pin the Gas podcast in existence. It was the only one I had
Okay.
made. So I give it to him, and yeah, we've been friends on Facebook. We chat every once in a while, so it's awesome, right? How you meet people. Well, one thing I always tell people is none of us strangers. We're just friends that haven't met yet. And with saying
There you
that,
go.
there are times that you will meet people where your energies do not match, right? Like I just don't care for this person, his energy. There's just something about him, right? But my challenge to everybody is I guarantee if you sat down and you genuinely had a conversation with him or her, you two would at least five things you have common ground on, and then all that energy would go away and you wouldn't have that negative energy anymore, right? That's also what I mean by that. So yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's
So
cool.
listen, last question, and then I'll give
Maybe.
all my shout outs. I'll let you end the podcast with all your shout outs. Last question I have for you, again, I'm gonna save the rest for next time, is tell us something we don't know about Rhino.
Something you don't know. There's probably a few things. I guess the first thing that pops to mind would be, so I was adopted from South Korea when I was 8 months old. Lived originally lived in Michigan, Kalamazoo area, and then moved to Wisconsin in 1997. So was born a little bit south of Seoul, and I was only 8 months old. Like I don't really obviously remember anything of it, but born there. So I always tell people, I'm from the South, so I'm like an Asian hick, Asian redneck. So I can say I was from the South officially. But and like I said, so the H for Rhino is one of my middle names, which is also the first name of my Korean name. So my Korean name is Hun Soo Chung. I always joke with my guy friends if they want to call me Hun, it's not weird. It's actually my name. So
I love it.
I guess yeah, that would be one thing. I guess the only other thing would be since I am Asian, I actually did play violin since I was 3, so I check that box.
I love it. What you said, I appreciate you sharing that personal information. I, there's very few people that know this about me. I'll go on and share mine with you too as well. Is I never met the donor. Um, I don't like to use the word dad, right? But I never met my biological father, right?
Yep.
I feel you on that. My mom is the same, but my dad met my mom when I was 2, and they got married when I was 4. Yeah, they told me about it when I got older. At first, when they told me, I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. And then obviously, I get a little older. I got curious. So I was like, I went to my dad and was like, hey, I'd like to find this guy. My dad's like, I hope you find him. I know him. You're not gonna like him. So I really thought about it, and for a couple of days, and then I went up to him and was like, you know what? I don't want to find him. He didn't want to have nothing to do with me or whatever. And you're my dad, so yeah, let's just forget I even said anything. And yeah, so does it still play on my mind every once in a while? Absolutely, it does. Right? I'm human. Why wouldn't it? But yeah, that's something that I don't think I've ever said that on a podcast before. So yeah, there you go. The
I
one thing you
appreciate you
guys
sharing.
don't know about me.
Yeah, I've never. People have asked me if I've ever thought about it, and it's weird. I never really have, because like you said, my parents are my parents, and
Yep.
in Korea, especially, it's much more of like a taboo thing to have like like a child like out of wedlock. So I guess what my parents is like from like the adoption age, even if like say I wanted to find my biological parents or like my birth mother, it'd be very like you'd have to basically hire a private investigator and they have to try and track them down and because they don't really want to be found. Uh, and like sometimes they'll leave letters or like an explanation, maybe sometimes they won't. There wasn't anything left for me. I guess there was a letter left for my sister, but like I said, it's never been anything that I've wondered. I think it'd be cool to just go check out the country
Yeah.
in general. But yeah, like you said, and like I said, it's like my parents are my parents, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My dad's the best dad in the world, and that's why I am the man I am today, and I raised my son the way I do. Right? It's all because of him. So
Yep.
yeah, nothing but love to I call him Papa Dukes. Right? You know who you are, Papa Dukes, for sure. Dude, we got Paul McKee in the house. What is up, Paul? He says,
Hey,
Rhino in the
Paul.
show. Good episode, my dudes. Paul, you're an absolute legend, my friend. And then Brennan Triplett says, what's going on, gents? I'm trying to get to a couple of these comments real quick. And then Ethan
Hey, no
says,
worries.
just send it. What
Ethan.
is going
I
on,
hope
Ethan?
Ethan's eating dinner.
Right? Is he the one that eats the plain Jane stuff all the time?
Yeah, Ethan. Ethan gets a special shout out because he is like he's the only person who messaged me randomly earlier this year wanting on my website wanting to know like how to get into racing. And I've been fortunate to help some people get into racing, but he was like the first one who reached out to me. Because I didn't know him before this year, but we've become good friends. And the biggest thing though is we always find like he's not like really eating during race weekends, so we're trying to make sure he stays like well fed, so he's got some energy.
You
So
got to
I'm always
eat,
asking
Ethan.
if he's eaten every time I see him now.
Yeah. Have you eaten, Ethan? If you're still watching this, leave a comment down below. Andy, what is going on? He says one cylinder on the R1 makes more power than the Ninja 250. 20, but 250. Yes, absolutely.
This is true.
It's an absolute fact, right?
And
But yes, dude, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute honor. I'm coming up on an hour and 30 sitting down with the legend himself, Ryan. But before we end this podcast, I just want to give my shout outs and thank you, right, to all my friends that has helped me out on my journey to where I am right now. One being my man Seth Starnes at Next Level Financial. All these sponsors, I call them my sponsors, but really they're my friends and they own their own businesses. And I just love to talk about them and their business, and I want to see them grow, right? And help them out in any way I can. So Next Level Financial, and of course, bisontrack.com. And Chef Eats, I know you heard of Chef Eats, Ryan, right? Chef Eats is, dude, amazing food. Jeff serving that I eat it. It's absolutely, you don't even have to meal prep. There's your meal prep right there, right? Flying Eyes Optics, big shout out to them. They made in Austin, Texas. They're the most amazing sunglasses. I mean, I wear these all the time. They're super light. You can get them prescription. Yeah, I freaking love them. My wife's friends try to steal them, so I started hiding them because if not, I wouldn't even have none. Then I'd have to call my man up and beg, "Can I please have another pair of sunglasses?" So yeah, big shout out to Flying Eyes Optics. You guys need to check them out. I got a couple friends that actually wore them, and I didn't even realize they had them until they come on board with me, or I got on board with them, which I met in Wisconsin, where you are at the
Okay.
Moto America race. We actually went out to breakfast. I forget the name. It was right like 5-6 minutes from the track. It was this little place. It was super packed. Guy pulls up on a motorcycle and we get to talking, and yeah, he's one of the guys at Flying Eyes Optics, and I was like, dude, I have a podcast, and that's kind of, the whole deal come about. So and then of course SFL Mini GP, RD Racing, my man Jake Marsh out there in the UK, Vet2 Track, my buddy Jim Whitman has the best program out there. So any of my vet friends need to go to vet2track.com. His motto is battling PTSD one lap at a time. I always say that backwards sometimes. But his program is absolutely amazing. Big shout out to Tate at 64 Degree Racing. He's also another buddy of mine. Like I said earlier, I am an ambassador for Bison. I have a lot of undersuits, okay? Bison, I got a one-piece undersuit from Bison. It's my favorite one-piece undersuit. I actually want to start doing reviews on products. So you guys just stay tuned, right? I'll explain the differences and all that on a video I actually got coming up here shortly. But 64 Degree Racing, he sent me a two-piece suit. It's the XC1. It's my favorite two-piece race suit. Hands down, bar none. I freaking love it. So if anybody's out there in the market, go to 64 Degree Racing. Anybody in the market for custom body work, my buddy Chris Parrish, you guys know who he is. Ghetto Customs, some of the best body work out there, especially if you got the SV or Prey RS660. And he does them for others too as well. Big shout out to my sponsors out there in the UK. My man Martin owns the company, The Clothing Kings. You guys can go to theclothingkings.co.uk and order all your Pendergast merch out there. That's actually where this shirt come from. I have another one up there, dude. I got a soft shell jacket, all kinds of stuff from him. I love his clothes. I forget the brand it is. It's not a Hanes or nothing like that. But Ryan, they are absolutely amazing. My wife liked it so much I had to order her a couple. She's like, dude, I'm stealing your shirt. I was like, no, you're not. This is my shirt. But I'll get you some, right? Things we do for our wives, right? Big shout out to the road racing world, right? And they're fun. I highly recommend people go there and donate for the air fence. It's absolutely amazing what they do. We need the air fences in racing. So go there. And if you're at the track and you donate, I think it's like $350. If you donate right there, you can get a 2-up ride with Chris Ulrich on the track, right? Which would be absolutely amazing. I want to do that. Anybody out there looking to order any parts online, look no further than Sports Bike Track. I just said that all messed up. Brian Van and Max Van. I'm sorry. I absolutely murdered it. Look no further to them. And then Carnes Performance. My buddy Jason Carnes owns a dealership in Pennsylvania. Carnes Performance. He had 2 riders in Moto America, Elise, Ginger, and Belen that I had on my podcast, and Levy Batty, right? And they will be back next year. Not them two, but the team. You know what? I'm not gonna say that. The team will be back next year. And big shout out, man, to KYT, man. My man Brandon out there at KYT. Some of the best helmets out there on the market. Super light. I mean, for the price point, dude, you can go out there and spend $1,500 on an AGV. You can buy 2 KYT KX1 race helmets for that, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. And of course, big shout out to all my friends at K-Tech Suspension, Birch, Dakari, Kendall, man, all my friends out there. So yeah, listen, I've been running my mouth a whole lot. I'm gonna hand the microphone over to Ryan right here. And Ryan,
you're good, man. You're good.
I appreciate it, man. But tell everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's sometimes I feel like, man, dude, like I keep going on and on. They're probably like, dude, will you just like hurry up now? But
it'd be awkward if you're a podcaster who didn't talk. So
right now, I know I'm just playing. But yeah, listen, to all my friends and everybody that watches this, Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. You guys don't know how much it means to me. It really does. It's an absolute honor. If you hadn't had the chance yet, go to my Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, all that good stuff. YouTube, hit that like and subscribe bell. This episode will be up and out tomorrow on Spotify and everywhere you get your podcast. But yeah, Ryan, tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, give all your shout outs and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I've got my YouTube channel, which is going to be it's going to be Rhino RYHNO. I know that's for Rhino 411. I say that because it's often spelled the tendency is to spell it RHYNO, but it's RYHNO. Also on Instagram at Rhino 411. I've got my team website set up right now, which is rhinoracing.com. And then I'm on Facebook as well, my personal Facebook, and then also my Rhino Racing Facebook page as well. I technically still have like a Rhino photo page because I used to and still kind of do some photography work on the side. But yeah, it's the Rhino Racing one's the one you're gonna want. So obviously, I got to get a big shout out to all my, and I'm in the same boat as you, Chris. I don't like to call them sponsors. I like to call them partners and friends and everything. But Eric over at superbikesupply.com for being there with me, Matt and ICAF Inc. for helping me on my journey with everything. You know, all my motor related sponsors: Scorpion Helmets, Redline Tire Warmers, Forma Boots USA, Turn One Racing, Attack Performance, Vortex, and then a lot of my local friends and businesses who were able to kind of help me keep chasing this dream of doing, you know, making the pro racing a reality. You know, Creekside Performance Center, Pizza Vino, love your delicious pizza. If you come up, man, if you come up here to Road America, I got to take you to Pizza Vino, and then also Harry's Prohibition Bistro, Kegel Auto and Towing, and then I don't know if you drink alcohol at all, Chris, but if you like whiskey or any hard liquor at all, Ledge Rock Distillery over, it's about 20-30 minutes from the track. Then Hollow Bill Band there, and then Motovid.com, who I coach and control ride for giving me the opportunity to continue helping people. One of the biggest things I love doing in life is helping people. So getting to do it on the track is like, you know, it's a dream come true for me. And then my publication, Road Dirt, that I do some photojournalist work for, that opportunity there. I always love doing that. And then Knock Around Sunglasses as well. So thank you to everybody for the support. As always, it means everything to me. And Chris, it's been awesome being on. Like I said, I've always wanted to do something like this, so it's been cool to be on the other side of things.
Listen, Ryan, again, I can't stress enough. The honor is absolutely all my friend, dude. It really is. It means a lot to me to be in this position and get all the love and support. And then when I reach out to my friends that don't know we're friends yet, right, such as yourself, and then we sit down and meet. Now we're friends. To have them, him or her, come on there. It's been an absolute amazing journey in this short lifetime that we live and that we're in. I love making connections like this and making people smile and their days happy and turning around, right? And it's a beautiful thing. Absolutely a beautiful thing. Do you have any merch for sale? Like do you shirts, hats, or anything like
So
that?
we just did a run of team shirts. We're gonna kind of do a redesign here, and then I do have some left. I have some of these left, and then we have our I did what I call my grind of the grid campaign. That was kind of a playoff. I just kind of would do a sign off at the end of my videos saying that I'm just got to keep grinding through all the adversity and everything. So got some of those left. We're planning to do another run of those. Might do some redesigns. I've got some things in the works, some ideas. I just got to figure out the way to best way to like get everything made and distributed. So definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, we've got more coming for sure. But if anyone's interested in anything, just message me.
No, there you go. Right. So you know I need a shirt, right? I'll trade you. I ordered some more, so I'll get some more my Pin the Gas podcast shirts, and we'll yeah.
When I already know you like pink, so we're good there.
Dude, absolutely. We're good to go. But yes, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys tuning in and taking your time out and listening to me and Ryan do what we do best, talk about our love for the sport of motorcycles, right? But yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you guys soon. Ryan, is there anything you want to say before I end this?
Nope. I think you covered it, man. Thanks
right.
again for tuning in. I appreciate it.
That's right. And one question for everybody out there listening, and think about this long and hard. Are you Team Pecco or Team Jorge Martin? Because it's coming to an end here real soon. Let's go Jorge Martin. That's all I'm going to say, and we're out. We end this.